The last thing fortunately, I use Chatbooks, the app that automatically turns my Instagram photos into adorable photo books. Think about all those photos you've already posted to your Instagram account. That's a whole collection of Chatbooks waiting to happen. Just connect your account, review, and order. Holy sweet Meghan Markle, it worked! Chatbooks. Live your life and let Chatbooks print it, one $10 book at a time.
Hello and welcome to our series on the model of the future workplace. I'm here today with Eric Woodley, founder and managing director of Woodley Real Estate. And we are here in part because of R0. R0 is a disinfection technology that can disinfect 1,000 square feet in 7 minutes. You should check them out at r0.com. A really great way to get people back into the workplace safely. So my name is Arian Lewis. I'm the CEO of Kiln. Kiln is a flexible office and co-working company. We're based here in Lehigh as well as in Salt Lake and Park City soon, supporting over 250 primarily small tech companies here in Utah. So come check us out at kiln.co. And Eric, why don't you give a little introduction to your business and what you do here in the Utah area?
Great. I'm Eric Woodley. I run a real estate company here locally with myself and two brothers. It's called Woodley Real Estate. As Arian mentioned, we're a bit of a real estate boutique in that we don't fly a national brand, very much provide services for the local companies in our market centered around tech mostly on both the residential and commercial side of their businesses. So we have a unique vantage point to get to know them in a very personal way as well as on the business front.
So we're talking today about models of the future workplace. Eric, just before we stop with your intro, can you just tell us names of the tech companies that you work with and you support on their real estate needs?
Yeah, so we work with Artemis, Lucid Software, Canopy Tax, Entrada, Vivint, Domo, Qualtrics, Weave, Podium,
I've never heard
Lendio,
of these.
and a lot of really cool up-and-coming companies as well that have been fun to work with. So
you've seen some of these companies go from $0 to $1 billion and beyond
Many.
that. Qualtrics is what, 14, 16 billion? They're big. So you've seen the whole life cycle of a company, and we're obviously going through a very unique cycle right now, which is we're just sort of, the pandemic is thawing. We're looking at the way that the workplace is going to function in the future. And you're working with a number of companies who are exploring what the future model is going to be for their workplace.
we are.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So let's just start with your observations on what is happening in the market right now with regards to the return to work. What are you seeing?
I think we're seeing a pretty large contingency of companies that have a lot of pent-up demand. They want to get back into the office. They want to get back with their teams. People are getting zoomed out. It's fatiguing to be on the screen all day. It's not the same as human interaction. And everyone's just trying to kind of figure out how to get there. How do we get everyone back in an office in a safe manner? And how to do so in an appropriate time where you're not bullied into thinking that maybe you're pushing your team to do it earlier than you should be.
So timing is a real factor that people are trying to consider right now.
Absolutely.
Can you give us, you don't have to name any companies specifically, but give us the spectrum. So some people are thinking this about timing, and on the other end of the spectrum, they're thinking that. What would you say to that? Fill in the blanks there.
Look, I would say the large portion of the decision makers across our market thinks alike, and that is they would like to be in the office yesterday. However, no one is rewarded for being first. And so,
So first mover advantage is not an advantage.
No, it's
when
not.
the return
It's
to work.
it's
because
really
you could
not.
be shamed, right?
Yes.
You could be the shameful company that forced people to take a risk to coming back to work.
That's correct. It's going to take a few of these first movers before you're going to see a larger portion of the folks come back to the office. But I think both decision makers as well as employees, a lot of them want to be back in the office. They miss it. And I think in a matter of time, if we continue to see these counts coming down and vaccinations spread across the state a bit, we'll be there in a short time.
Love it. Okay. I had a conversation with a founder earlier today who said the following. We surveyed our company, and 50% of our employees want to be back in the office 5 days a week. And then 25% of our employees want to be in the office 3 days a week. And then the other 25% are kind of all across the map. Some want to be in the office only 1 or 2 days. Some want to be totally remote. What do you think about that? How true is that to the rest of the market? Do you think that's what a lot of people are experiencing, or maybe just that company?
Look, work life as we once knew it is just never going to be the same. And I think one thing is consistent is that employers need to have a flexible, elastic approach to office life. And whether that is days in the office, whether it's 1 to 5 days in the office, or whether that's providing a hoteling type situation where they can go on louder floors, quieter floors, darker floors for engineers, lighter floors for salespeople, whether they want to be in a cold climate, a warmer climate, whether they like cereal or PB&J. We need to provide the same comforts that they've had at home in the office place, because let's face it, it is an employee market, not an employer market. So if you don't provide that for them, maybe they're not going to hold your or carry your brand as they once did.
Some companies. So just the key words there are flexibility,
absolutely,
modularity, personalization for the employee to a degree.
In a big way, and maybe hoteling where that same employee that likes dark, they might only like dark on Monday and Tuesday because that's the heads down, get work done mode. But Wednesday, Thursday, they're ready to come out and have a creative working environment and get the rubs that provide the natural creativity.
So do you think the days of having your workstation, like this is my desk, I go here every day, do you think those are over?
Yeah, I think that COVID has definitely fast-tracked that, and I think it's going to be tougher to hang the picture of the family on the wall if you're going to provide that type of elasticity that we believe the market's looking for now.
Interesting. Reminds me of just after the dot-com bust, everybody went to very flexible, infrastructure in terms of that's when cloud computing really got its start. That's when having a web server really became the thing to do, because prior to that, you felt like you had to have everything within your company. They adopted a much more flexible technology stack, and now you're basically saying the future is definitely going to be in a flexible, let's just say, employee engagement stack or model. So that's interesting. Let's just talk a little bit about productivity. Let's undress this just a little bit, if we can. Is there a productivity pandemic? Do you think the pandemic has affected productivity? I'm asking you from the perspective of, what are people really saying behind the scenes?
I think the answer is it depends.
That was an attorney answer, Eric. That's what my attorney says.
I'm running for office,
Yeah, Woodley for office, it depends. Okay.
Look, I would say it really depends on who you're speaking to. There's definitely a group of individuals that feels like they are more effective, and I think they potentially have been or could be. I definitely think there are those that are scared to death to be within 100 feet of an office building, but they'll be shoulder to shoulder in Home Depot and at Lake Powell. And so, it's really hard to say. where the productivity lies. Maybe they are more productive because they have a little bit of a release and a change of pace that allows them to get back into the zone and the vortex of work and really put their heads down and grind. I would say that more and more of the people that we are speaking with, the decision makers, they are looking to get teams back into the office as quickly as possible.
Are they concerned about productivity?
I don't know if it's necessarily productivity as much as it's really hard to think outside of the box and have the conversations that you need to have in your war room that truly are the lifeblood of the company, that differentiate yourself from your competitors and creates new business channels and revenue that you're looking for. I think steady state, your company can survive, but you're not getting the rubs you need to have that only comes from in-person connection.
Yeah, that's so you're saying that productivity in some ways can be sustained through purely at-home work, but productivity maybe in terms of strategic innovation, moving the company forward in terms of their strategy and product, it can suffer, or at least, is that what you're getting from the executives that you're working with?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. So let's just talk about a few bullish moves that have been made in the market. KSL published that Domo has taken on a new HQ. We know that Traeger is building a new HQ downtown. These are interesting decisions to make in the midst of, we're still in the pandemic, although we can sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel. Why do you think executives are doubling down on some of these decisions right now?
Well, I think there's a lot of large brands and names that we would all know in our market that are making big moves right now. And again, to our previous commentary is, when you need to provide a workplace that provides that elasticity and that provides all of those things that these employees are now looking for after coming back out of their house, you kind of need to change the pace a little bit. And I think a company like Domo, who values their employees hugely, they want to provide that experience for their employees. And they, working from a clean slate, you're going to nail it. You're going to get it right. And I'm really excited to see what comes of that campus and what kinds of things that the team puts emphasis on and how they really provide the state-of-the-art post-COVID workplace. I think it'll be something that's, cutting edge.
Interesting. So what do you think the state-of-the-art workplace post-COVID will look like?
I think you got to talk about density. I don't know that you'll see quite as dense of floor plans as you once saw before.
The big open long desks with rows and rows of long desks, people working. That was the traditional open floor plan.
That's right. So I think you'll see us move a little bit away from that. I think hoteling is going to be something. I don't think you'll have as many designated workstations. I think you'll have different areas that provide more of comfortable soft chair type seating and some sit to stand, as well as some, lighter, darker, quieter, louder situations that, people can flow to depending upon their situation in any given day.
It feels like what you're saying is it's moving away from purely functionality and into experiential. Like coming to the office is designed around having an experience versus having a desk or fulfilling a function.
Look, we're creatures of comfort, so you got to provide me something better than I have at my home. And maybe for me, that's very easy.
Have you ever been to Eric's home, guys?
I think
a tough one.
Maybe for me it's very easy, and for others it might not be, And so that's what you're competing against, and you're also competing against these, Apples and Google and Amazons of the world that might be coming to your key employee, and offering a very similar pay or a better pay, saying, "Hey, stay in your living room. You're fine. We never need to see you." That's dangerous,
That's interesting. So let's just go into that just for a moment here. So the work from home model of working has enabled for more competitive forces to come in and compete for talent, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All eyes are on Utah right now.
Right. I just had I know a guy who went to work for Zoom, and he's been in his basement for the last 3 months working for Zoom. He's definitely probably zoomed out. I mean, definitely, the Zoom burnout is a real thing. By the way, it's really a thing. You should look at the Harvard Business Review article called Burnout. They have really interesting biological evidence of how it affects us when we're just staring at a screen all day. But he has struggled to really connect with his company because he's based in Utah. He's never actually worked for that company in their HQ or anything like that. So it's a purely virtual experience. What do you think is going to happen in 2 to 3 years with that model? Do you think it changes? Do you think this is a temporary thing where an Amazon can come and pull somebody out of a Pluralsight or whatever and have them work in their basement for the rest of their career? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think you look at the advantages that we have with our local homegrown companies, and that is opportunity to improve your skill or your craft. The larger brand you go to, if you're just chasing the money, you're not going to have the same opportunities that you are going to have that might increase your career path and eventually revenue down the road as well, and opportunity in the workplace. So your lane gets tighter the larger brand you go to. So if you're just chasing the money, I don't think that's a long-term approach.
That's interesting. And there's definitely something to be said for all of the things we glean as we're trying to grow and develop in our career by being around people who are leading and building a company, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I want to just ask the question about the residential market. You work in the your team supports a lot of executives in getting their homes here in Utah. And then you're also working with them on office, et cetera. What kind of trends are you seeing that are affecting both of those worlds?
We are seeing the coast emptying like we've never seen before. I think, and when I say coast, the Bay, Boston, New York, they're coming to the mountain states, and they're coming in a big way. And I think this trend was already sort of starting. People started realizing, at first people came to Utah because you had a lot of really cheap labor, really cheap power, and it was kind of the place to come and operate efficiently.
Beautiful men and women.
Yes.
Let's keep going. Powder.
Yes, beautiful men and women.
Okay.
Yes. And now,
good food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you have a massive airport with
very massive.
Delta
Have
Hub.
You walked that airport?
Many times.
It is massive now.
Yes.
I get a full workout just going to the airport.
Yes, it is. It's quite a workout. I ended up in a gate much further than I wanted to be, headed to Disney World a couple weeks ago with my kids.
That's nice.
I was sweating.
I bet they were getting the pre-Disneyland workout.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have direct flights to most anywhere in the country, and as well as outside of the country. You have great
And Cafe Rio.
Cafe Rio.
There you
go. You got great public transit. You have, the only 2 states in the entire country with year-over-year job growth was Utah and Idaho.
Yeah.
We're in the dead center of that.
Yeah, we were one of the top states last year, I think close to the top for several categories in terms of growth.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening here. And so people are now coming to Utah, not only from COVID, so their kids can come here and play sports and actually go to school. I still have family members in Oregon that are doing homeschool and have been for Oregon. That's right. Grew up on a farm in Woodburn, Oregon with my brothers. So, yeah, hazelnut orchard. So we're farm boys at heart. But been here since 2000. Utah is definitely home. But, I think that's worth mention for sure. And it's caused a massive housing shortage that, you got to speak about, because this time last year we had about 2,000 homes on the market in Utah County, for example. Today we have less than 300. Think about that stat.
That's a big change.
It's a massive change.
Yeah.
So
I know Park City saw almost 25% increase in their population over the last 12 months.
Absolutely. We have Californians coming here getting sticker shock. They're like, that house is, say, how much? I can get that with a view of the ocean. It's crazy.
But the mountains are so much more beautiful than the ocean anyways,
yes,
right?
They are.
Well, so you've got this big influx of people to lifestyle markets, let's just say. You have this trend of virtual work. You can work from anywhere. You can be remote. What do you think all of this results in 12 to 24 months from now? What are we going to say about this is the model of the future workplace 12 to 24 months from now? Describe that model to me.
I think it's going to be as wild as it is today. It's going to be even crazier, and I think population growth here is going to continue to break records. I think for the first time in a while, we had more transplants in Utah than natural births. I think you're going to see an even greater housing shortage if we don't get in front of that. I think you're going to continue to see massive brands coming here to try and take part in the amazing talent pool that we've created. Look, we are the center of gravity in what's happening across the country, and I think it's only going to get funner and more exciting to be in the middle of it all.
Well, thank you, Eric. For those of you that want to get more information and connect with Eric, what's the best way to do that? Is it Woodley.co?
Woodley.co.
Woodley.co.
Yeah, Woodley.co.
And again, I'm Arian Lewis from Kiln. You can check us out at kiln.co. And I want to thank one more time R0 for being our sponsor for this series. R0 helps you disinfect your office, can do 1,000 square feet in 7 minutes with this beautiful thing right here. You should check them out at r0.com. And thank you to Silicon Slopes for facilitating this conversation on the future of workplace.